Chapter 1, 141, 7th year, ****. He could have told James and Sirius straight away if he'd wanted to, could have played the hero, enjoyed the spotlight and being the cause of their joy, but he didn't. He told himself it was to preserve Alexander Gordon's privacy, or to respect McGonagall's authority, but the truth was that he just didn't want anything to do with it at all. Obviously he wanted Sirius to be happy, obviously he didn't want to be an obstacle to Sirius's happiness. And obviously he wanted Gryffindor to beat Slytherin in the final match, for James to have his moment of glory. He didn't want to see Sirius punished forever for a mistake he made at 16. He didn't want betrayal to hang over them like that, or to bring it all up again. And yet, there it was. Remus had forgiven Sirius, back in the Potter's bathroom 2 years ago, had absolved a truly repentant boy with blood on his hands and sorrowful eyes. It had been before they understood each other, before so many other good memories, of good things which had changed their friendship. But Remus hadn't forgotten how it had felt. Sirius could destroy him completely, without even meaning to. If anything, Remus was even more vulnerable to that now than he had been at 16. No, Remus told himself. There was a difference between atonement and revenge. Sirius had earned this. On Monday morning, James received a note from McGonagall asking to see him before Quidditch practice. He hurried off without even finishing his breakfast. Nothing was more important than the final match. Marlene and Yaz began speculating on what it could be, Peter and Sirius leaning across the table eagerly to join in. Remus just waited, feeling half pleased and half something else. As breakfast was finishing, James's muffled voice began emanating from the two-way mirror, Sirius's robe pocket.
Padfoot, Quidditch pitch, now.
What do you reckon he wants?
Sirius scratched his head as they got up from the table.
Oh, I think you'll like it,
Remus replied, cryptically.
Go on, he sounds excited.
You know what it is, don't you?
Sirius eyed him suspiciously.
Maybe.
Don't you want me to walk you to care of magical creatures?
I'll manage. Go. Hurry.
Remus didn't see James and Sirius again until lunch, and both of them were grinning from ear to ear. James had the Quidditch schedule out and was marking out extra practice days so that Sirius could get back up to speed.
You were right.
Sirius beamed, practically bouncing in his seat as Remus arrived.
I did like it.
Remus just smiled back. It was enough to see him happy, and if love was something you did, then Remus hoped this was enough.
What are you so happy about?
Marlene asked, sitting down opposite the boys.
Say hello to your new beta.
Sirius burst out. James laughed, nodding.
Oh!
Marlene smiled brightly.
Excellent. What happened to Gordon?
Gone home,
James replied.
not supposed to ask.
Well, anyway.
Marlene shook her head.
That's fantastic. I've missed having you watching my back. So how come McGonagall let you? I thought you got kicked off for doing something unspeakable.
Oh, yeah.
Mary added, stirring grated cheese into her leek and potato soup.
I remember something like that too. What did you do?
Sirius visibly balked at this, his eyes widening. Remus frowned slightly. Was this the first time it had occurred to him? Had Remus been agonising over the implications of an event Sirius barely even remembered? He decided to rescue him, nonetheless.
You can't expect Sirius to remember every stupid stunt he pulls that gets him into trouble,
he said, cheerfully. The girls accepted this, and lunch continued, but Remus could feel Sirius's eyes on him the whole time. Apparently, he had caught up. Well, Remus thought, at least it only takes him a few hours now. This time last year, it would have been months. Throughout the rest of the afternoon lessons, Remus's gut instinct was to be evasive, to make a quick getaway after his final class and stay in the library as late as he could, then go straight to bed without speaking. But really, he tried to reason with himself, wasn't that just another way to punish Sirius? It certainly didn't demonstrate forgiveness. He hadn't forgotten their recent fight and how Sirius had called him bloody exhausting. It had actually hurt his feelings quite a lot at the time, and he knew that this was because it was so painfully true. So, he'd try it Sirius's way.
Fancy a walk after dinner?
He asked casually, tapping the box of matches where he kept his cigarettes, and sometimes something more recreational.
Yeah.
Sirius smiled, surprised.
Sounds good.
Pudding appeared on the table in front of them. James was taking notes on the teleportation mechanism and kept picking up plates as soon as they emptied to see if they would refill in mid-air or land on the table itself.
Potter, if you drop even one treacle tart, I'll have your guts for garters.
Lily threatened. It was easy enough for them to get away that evening, and they wandered towards to Astronomy Tower, because the evenings were nice now that winter was finally on its way out, and no one would have a go at them for smoking. They interrupted a couple of fifth years clumsily groping on the parapets, and used their seventh year privilege to send them on their way.
Honestly, when we were their age, we never...
Sirius tutted disapprovingly.
Sure you want to finish that?
Remus raised a wry eyebrow. They settled down. Remus rolled up his robes to use as a cushion, and they sat with their backs to the wall, companionably rolling spliffs.
I'm really happy for you.
Remus started after his first inhale.
About the Quidditch. You deserve it.
Thanks.
Sirius nodded, sounding relieved.
I really... I asked James, and he said McGonagall asked you if it was okay first.
She did.
Remus agreed, keeping his voice steady.
Obviously, I said it was fine. Obviously.
I'm really grateful. You didn't have to. I would have understood.
Really?
Remus looked at him finally.
Of course.
Sirius said earnestly.
I deserve to be struck off. I deserve to be expelled for what I did. Locked up in Azkaban. I got off easy, and I know it.
I never wanted you to suffer,
Remus said.
I hated you for it, I won't lie. But I forgave you then, and I can't keep holding a grudge. You've made it up to me, like you said you would.
He felt a bit lightheaded saying all of this. It wasn't much, no, but he knew they both felt the weight of the words. Sirius had always tried to understand him harder than anyone.
Still.
Sirius replied, placing a hand over Remus's.
If you're still angry about it, that's okay. I still feel guilty about it. It's the worst thing I've ever done.
We don't have to talk about it.
Remus shifted uncomfortably. He really didn't want to talk about it.
I just wanted you to know that I do still feel responsible. I don't blame anyone but myself, not even Snavellis, not even her.
Who?
Remus frowned, lost. He felt Sirius's legs stiffen beside him, saw his hand tremble just for a moment.
My mother,
he said, quietly. His breathing was shallow, and he spoke so quietly, Remus had to strain his ears to catch it all.
Do you remember what happened that Christmas? It was when I got kicked out.
Remus nodded. How could he ever forget? It had been one of the worst nights of his life, and he had had more than his fair share. Sirius continued, looking down at his knees, curling up smaller against the stone rampart.
She'd done stuff before. I mean, you know about that. The cutting, and the silencing, and that time she vanished my hair. But, and I know this sounds weird, I never thought she'd do that. She threatened to disown me all the time, threatened to do all sorts. But until they started getting in deep with Voldemort, I never really believed her.
He paused, apparently to take a few deep breaths, then pressed on bravely.
It was always the most important thing when I was growing up. Family. Family loyalty. I know they froze out Andromeda, but Mother knew we were still in touch. She didn't try to stop it. So I thought, well, they must be planning to forgive her one day. Bring her back into the fold, because she was family, and it was arrogant of me. But I really never thought it would happen to me.
He looked at Remus bashfully, as if he had said something idiotic, and expected to be teased. Remus said nothing, only gripped his hand. Sirius sighed.
But then it did happen, and they'd punished me so many times before, I thought I knew what to expect. But not like that. I'd never been so scared.
His eyes were shimmering now, and he was staring angrily ahead.
I hated it, feeling that way, and all I could think, lying in bed at the Potters, was how you or James would have done better, been braver, or figured out a way to fight back. I didn't fight back, because they were my family.
Sirius.
Remus tried to sound gentle, but Sirius shook his head, wiping his eyes quickly.
No, it's okay. I'm not telling you so you feel sorry for me. I'm not making excuses. There's no excuse. I'm just, I don't know, trying to explain. Anyway, that happened at Christmas, and then I was living at the Potters after that, so it was all okay for me, wasn't it? Like, I was safe, and I had nothing to be scared of. But I still felt like she could get me. I had these nightmares, remembering the curse. Sorry, I know it sounds stupid.
It doesn't sound stupid at all.
Still, I felt like I had to do something, and maybe I didn't always have the best ideas. You know what I was like, all over the place, acting like a twat. Me and James, we both used to egg each other on, didn't we? And Snape was so easy to pick on, because he's so foul and nasty already. Godric, so nasty. He tried to attack Mary, and then him and Reg tried to hurt you too, remember? And he just kept going, no matter what we did. And not like Snape is like my mother or anything. I think there are at least 6 degrees of evil between them. But he made me feel the way she made me feel. Like I couldn't control it. I just wanted to make him scared, make him feel it too, so that maybe he'd stop. It's no excuse, and I'm so sorry, Moony.
Remus had not let go of Sirius's hand. Something strange was happening inside of him. Something which he had rarely felt outside of a full moon. A fierce and overwhelming desire to protect this boy sitting next to him, to make sure he was never frightened again. He pulled Sirius to him, taking his spliff and pressing their lips together.
It's forgiven,
He said.
I mean it.
Sirius didn't speak, just looked up at him, grateful and happy, and Remus thought if he could bottle that look, then he'd never struggle with a Patronus again.
And you can blame your mother for it if you like,
Remus said, pulling away.
She sounds like a right cunt.
Sirius snorted with laughter and buried his face in Remus's shoulder.
You oik.
He chuckled gleefully.
I really bloody
Who's up here?
Mary came tiptoeing around the corner.
Oh,
She sighed upon seeing them.
I was hoping you were Marlene and Yaz. Been trying to catch them for ages. Finally put an end to this sneaking around malarkey.
Sirius leaned back against the wall, wiping his eyes quickly.
All right, MacDonald.
He grinned, squinting up at her.
Oh, is that what I think it is?
Mary glimpsed the spliff in Remus's hand.
Sharesies.
Friday, March 10th, 1978, just before midnight.
Moony, where have you gone? They're going to do your cake before James really gets drunk.
Sirius called up the stairs. Remus smirked to himself tipsily. James was too far gone already, if you asked him. He'd been leaping all over the common room furniture to Jean-Genis for half an hour already.
Yeah, I'll just be a sec,
Remus called back. He was looking for something to use as a vase, and finally settled on transfiguring an old Wellington boot which must have been one of Peter's from first year.
Aguamente,
He murmured, his wand work a bit sloppy from the cider. He had thought cider would be a smarter choice than whiskey, but if anything it seemed to have made him stupider than normal. He dunked the bunch of tulips into the very rubbery-looking vase and grinned to himself.
What are you doing up here?
Sirius came in now. He was drunk too. He had acquired a wide-brimmed mauve hat from somewhere and was wearing it at a jaunty angle.
Flowers?
He looked confused.
Yeah, from one of the Hufflepuffs in my study group.
Who's giving you flowers?
Miranda Odell, 4th year.
But why?
I asked her to.
Remus smirked, enjoying the game. Sirius threw his hands up.
Moony, I am too drunk for your puzzles.
They're for Hope.
Remus poked his tongue out.
Seeing her tomorrow, remember?
Oh, yeah.
Sirius smiled again, eyes practically violet under the shade of his ridiculously flattering purple hat.
Looking forward to it.
Do you know what? I sort of am. At least I don't want to throw up, like last time.
Progress.
Sirius flung his arms out. The volume of the music downstairs increased by a good few decibels as that trilling guitar started all over again, and James's voice could be heard booming, singing along to the song.
James really likes this song, eh?
Remus grinned, hands in his pockets, enjoying being away from it all for a little bit.
After years of trying, Bowie finally got through to him.
Sirius returned, taking a few coy steps towards Remus, leaning against the bedpost in that devastatingly casual way.
Are you enjoying your party?
He tilted his head down as his asked, eyes big and flirtatious as a girl's.
Very much.
Remus bobbed his head, returning the smile.
Someone invited Lockhart, the prick.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, how come he's like that anyway?
Remus just shrugged, eyes fixed on the way Sirius swung his hips unconsciously back and forth in time with the bass reverberating from the floorboards. When they left school, Remus would buy him 100 pairs of black jeans, and that would be all he'd allow him to wear.
Want your present?
Sirius asked suddenly, catching Remus's eye.
You already got me a present.
Remus protested. A full year's supply of chocolate frogs, though Remus was pretty sure he could polish it off by the time exams were over.
I'm allowed to get you more than one thing,
Sirius said, petulantly. He stood away from the bed, legs apart, and waved his hands flamboyantly through the air like a muggle magician. Then, with a dramatic bow, he swept the hat from his head in one fluid motion, delved his hand inside, and withdrew a small metal thing. He handed it to Remus, who could smell that it was solid gold. It was a rectangular case, just bigger than his palm. It had the same leafy vine-like design as his gold pocket watch and felt good and weighty in his hand. He snapped it open to find a row of 18 neatly rolled cigarettes nestled inside. The inside lid also had a design on it, delicately etched so that the finely hewn lines gleamed when they caught the light. It was a glimmering night sky with a large celestial moon in one corner and Canis Major picked out in mother-of-pearl inlay.
Sirius.
Remus said quietly, staring at it.
So you can get rid of that manky old matchbox.
Thank you. It's beautiful.
Oi, you two. Hurry up, or Wormtail's going to start on the cake.
James screamed up the stairs, ignoring Lily's attempts to shush him. Remus and Sirius grinned at each other and headed down, holding hands right until the bottom step. The common room was in an incredible state, barely recognizable. Multicoloured fairy lights hung from every rafter. Balloons drifted up and down like weird bloated jellyfish. The suits of armour occasionally belched flame-free fireworks, and there were people on every stretch of carpet and bottles on every surface. Most of the revellers were now leaping around the room with all the grace and dignity of kids on pogo sticks, led by James, Peter, Lily and Mary, who were jumping them most vigorously. James stopped when he saw Remus and raised his arms, cheering,
Mooney!
Cake.
Peter began to chant,
Cake, cake, cake.
Everybody joined in, and the crowd parted for Christopher and Marlene, who carried between them an enormous rectangular cake, the size of an overstuffed pillowcase. As they brought it to Remus, he saw with a flush of delight that it was decorated with chocolate buttercream icing to look like a gigantic leather-bound book.
My two favourite things.
He laughed, ignoring the elbow in the ribs from Sirius. He blew out the candles and cut the cake, making the same wish both times. After that, James started leading everyone in a series of toasts, each more convoluted and elaborate than the last, encouraged by Sirius and Peter. That meant at least 2 more pints of cider and some of Mary's witch's brew when he ran out. Remus's last memory of his 18th birthday party was some lunatic deciding to put on Goat's Head Soup, which had to be his least favourite Rolling Stones album, but he was pissed and he didn't care. The jumping and flailing continued, and the room was hot and loud and sweaty, and everyone was red-faced and grinning, and Remus didn't even care when Lily and James pointed and laughed at him as the final track began to play and everyone sang along loudly.